JT Crowley is Talking Books. On the show, you'll hear from emerging talent and seasoned veterans from around the world.
Hello, I'm JT Crowley. I'm the host of Talking Books show on Web Talk Radio. And today I have the author Olive Clarke from the United Kingdom to talk about her book, The Blessings of the Sun. It's a very interesting book. And when you look at the title, then you look at the storyline, you might want to question why the title. But to find out the reason for that, you need to go and read the book. It's a very, very interesting book. It's a big book. It's a chunky book. There are 8 parts to it, but there's lots and lots of stories involved in this book. So, what's the book about? Well, I have an idea, but the best person to ask is Olive herself. So I'm going to ask her to come and join me on the show so that she can talk about herself and her book. Olive Clarke from the United Kingdom, come and join me on the show.
Thank you, John.
Who are you, Olive, and what's the backdrop to this book of yours?
Well, as you can see, I'm not a usual interviewee. I had a stroke. Probably my book occasioned it. But Blessing of the Sun came out of nowhere. If I hadn't written it, I would be able to choke me. It's about life. But because I'm bringing with sensitive issues, it felt better to start off with cats rather than illustrating to people. My man books include people, but initially the cats triggered it. Why cats? Well, you never own a cat owner, I will tell you. You never own a cat. You can own a dog. But cats have a remarkable way of emphasizing with you. And in fact, we've got 2 in the home already. To lower the blood pressure down, lower that. They've got a wonderful way of empathy. And it's about empathizing people that I want to write. So my background is life. One thing we're sure of, we are born and dying.
Okay.
What happened in between?
Oh, a lot.
Question mark.
Yeah, a lot. A lot. Okay, so let's have a look at this book of yours, Olive, if that's okay. Now, this is a big book, everybody, with 8 parts to it, and there are a total of 67 chapters, and Olive is laughing at the moment, and I shall have to tell her off. Now, we're not going to dip our toes into all areas of the book, as we've been here for quite a long time, everybody. And if you get to know... Oh, yes, and it's taken us a while to do this connection, so let's be quick on the book here. So it takes us quite a long time, so we're not going to do that. So what we've done is that we've agreed to go to a certain chapter in each part of the book so you get a flavour. And if you want to know more, that's very simple. You can go and buy the book, or you can go to Olive's webpage on www.oliveclarkebooks.com, where you'll learn more about her and the books she has written. This is not the only book, everybody, she's written. She's written quite a few. She's quite a prolific writer. And she's got, yes, as you can see, that Olive is bedridden due to her physical condition, but her mind is as sharp as a needle. Her wit is just as witty. And boy, does she give me a good run for my money. And we're saying no more there. So let's open this epic book of yours. And let's go to the first part of the book, Autumn Fruits here. And you'll find, as it says, 8 busy, intense chapters, such as The Full Moon, Just Rewards, Sad Tidings. But the chapter that stood out most for me was A Summons, where Hedgerow has received a summons from her father, Wise Eye. via Big Paw, the scout. She leads her new litter on a treacherous journey. So, Olive, briefly, what's the story with autumn fruits, all these chapters here, but in particular, the chapter A Summons? I love Hedgerow.
What I wanted to do, first of all, I wanted to introduce the main characters of the book. Now, Wide Eye is Hadrian's father, but she never knew her mother, but he's pretty out of the tribe. So when the summer comes, he is dying. And he wants to see his daughter at a mood for one last time. The fact is, breaks Hydra in two. I prepared to say anything about her father, but she will take it there. Now, after that, we have a co-hero, because we have Comet. Now, Comet is unusual. He has not only Hadrian's sensitivity, but his father's common sense. But he has a little white triangle on his tail. And Pawpaw is immediately drawn to it, because he feels that's where the moon cat was the culture of the time, has kissed its tail. It's made just the cat has better. So that's the moment he's interested in. And he had an awful request. He wants Pedro to give her favourite help, no less than the moon cat herself. And Hedra is devastated. But because of her father's wish, she accedes. And Comet seems to know his destiny. Now, his name is Comet, which comes from karma. Karma, he had British karma. He understood it.
Ah,
And that's very, very important. And so, we got Paw, suggesting he knew his destiny, he offered it up to the moon cat.
as an offering, yes.
As well.
And of course, Hedgerow was very upset about that. She didn't want that. She could say that you could give the other kittens away, but no, because this is the story of cats, the tribes, and what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's set in the Peak District, which is a national park in the United Kingdom. It's a wonderful story, everybody. To me, Olive, do you know what I think? When I read your book, I thought this is the cat's version of Watership Down, with the rabbits, and or The Lion King. Now, if you love those, everybody, you're going to love this book. But it is cats, the tribes of cats, what's going on here. And it says it is a story of life, but it's told through the characters of the cats, and they are all so individual. I'm right, aren't I, Olive?
Well, you're right. But our concept of a cat is a domesticated cat. And wild cats are very, very different. Their first act is survival. And they are no comfort meant to night. There's meals put down for them. They hunt this, and this nature, war and claw. It really is
Mm.
wrong. And I think What's wrong with to get over so much in the first book?
It is. But because the wildcats have to fend for themselves.
What was that?
The wildcats have to fend for themselves.
Exactly.
Oh, yes.
And this was the biggest mistake. If people thought we were all dealing with that little sweet cat kittens, get you on your back. I had to, first of all, I had to establish a culture. That's probably why the book is so long. Although I had to establish culture, I had to establish the rules of time. And believe you me, there are rules.
There is, everybody. And when you look at the book, you can see that the individual tribes, there is a hierarchy and there are rules. And if you break the rules of the tribe and the hierarchy, there are consequences.
There are. But not always, there are serious consequences.
Yeah,
The main thrust is the safety and the continuance of the tribe. That doesn't always happen here.
indeed.
There are no natural health to go down to get help, no doctors, no teachers. It's passed on by the mouth of one to another. And I'm afraid the only way to secure the strength of the tribe, do away with the wingsuits.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Olive, as it says, there are 8 parts to this book. So let's go to part 2. Winter Threatens. Here we have 9 chapters such as Cold Comforts, Map on Mop's Day, Unpleasant Discoveries. But it's the story of Map in Still Waters that caught my imagination. What has she done? Why is she escaping? And what of the forest secrets? Care to quickly enlighten us here as to what's going on, Olive, in this section of the book? For we do have quite a bit to get through. So what is the secret in the forest and what's Matt done?
Matt has taken Mop away to basically kill her.
Ooh,
Yeah. Rather than being called outcast, rather than the terrors of the tribe. But she can't do it. And in the end, she leaves her. Leaves her in the forest on her own, unattended. And you have Matt flee. She's running away from herself. And she doesn't. Have you ever done anything to kind of yourself until you put it right? Well, it's the same map. She had left her daughter for dead. So there'd be no hope of surviving in the forest by herself. And so she's running away from herself, hoping, get hope, and normality will return. But of course it doesn't.
of course, the title of the section of the book, Winter Threatens, is because it's the onset of winter, isn't it? Winter is coming.
Yeah.
And the cats are getting ready for winter, which takes me very nicely on to the next part of the book, which is part 3, Winter Bites. So winter has arrived, everybody. And we've got 8 chapters here. And it's simply breathtaking, this part of the book. It really is. We've got a dead end, an unlikely alley, Victor Lodorum, and ladies in waiting, just to mention a few of the enchanting, intense, riveting chapters here. However, the chapter that I liked the most was Home Truth. It's a very, very powerful chapter, everybody. where we have Big Paw on the tribal ledge. Hedgerow, grateful to the mooncat, now is reflecting on how the events from the previous day have taken shape. Sky and Forepaw trembling away, waiting their fate from Big Paw because they've got into trouble with Big Paw. As I says, there are strict guidelines, strict rules amongst the cats here, and they've broken them. So Big Paw, captain now, in the tribes, he talks to the councils. We're talking about treason, and he's consulting with the chief. So, Olive, wow, what a wonderful, wonderful third part of the book, Winter Bites, but home truths. Tell us more.
Right. Well, Pawpaw and Sky wittingly put the tribe at risk. Basically, the main tribe territories, they were trying to take over the High Reach to Harmon's homeland. They achieved the council's negotiations. Unfortunately, territories are not too interesting. So what they are planning to do is to kidnap one of Pawpaw's children or offspring to hold as a ransom. And they've chosen Comet. And they do kidnap him. They do kidnap him. So the whole idea is that they get the rights that what they want. And the awful thing is, Big Paul lost this to go rescue him. And Chief says, no, if you go, they'll be over here like a shot and we'll lose everything. You take put. But in the end, he relents. Paul goes off to rescue his son. And the result is, Tom manages to get an escape. I won't tell you how. He's at home in victory and triumph. And that's where we come in. So that's the background of the book there. Unfortunately, although Big Paw needed to come in triumph, it's too short-lived. Because next thing happens, he meets with the unknown. In part of the ceremonies, the person who deity to whom the tribe describes the cat makes an appearance. And Smallpaw are all scared of Comet. In this instance, her beauty is transferred from the chief to him. She facilitates her escape. But anybody who tell you who's had a measure to death or a mystical experience, but mighty absent of me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now we have Big Paw. You've got the two miscreants set for him. My God, he's going to forscore them. He's got the chief, say, my family have betrayed tribe safety. What do you want me to do? JT Crowley. So that's the subtitle of that book. That's why Winter Bites.
Oh, yes. Now, continue on from that, which is part 4. Let's go to there, Olive. And that the storm breaks, it's all bubbling up here, everybody, and the storm breaks. We all know what that means. Trouble is looming. Now we've got 8 gripping chapters here, like The Curtain Rises. We've got Fighting Talk. Believe you me, there's lots of fighting talk. Love Ransomed. As I said, some of the chapters you have here. My favourite was The Fallout. All's not well in the Cat Kingdom after Mooncat's appearance. Oh dear, everybody. There's a battle ensuing here. The chief is facing mutiny in the ranks, and he needs to act decisively if he is going to maintain his credibility within the tribes. So, Olive, talk us through the storyline in this part of the book, in particular the chapter, The Fallout, because it's a big fallout, everybody, which I loved. Nothing like a bit of grumbling among the lower ranks to scare the top cats, is there, Olive?
No, there isn't. It's rather like after a party and you're trying to pick up pizza the next morning. And suddenly last night's activities seem woefully distant. But I should have called it the repercussions would have been better. So I've never been a fallout by nature with characters. I've been a fallout of repercussions. And it is very, very difficult to tell you what happens without making my storyline. But there's also a reason for this. I have to move the story on. So I have to open up a little bit to the other characters in. And the fallout is that absolutely going out into other clubs. Now I've got to get from wildcats to tame cats. I've got to get from one wildcat, one scenario at the rock. I've got to get into Bastion, which is the town. And I use this part as a way of linking the two together. I'm not going to tell you how. Because that's very important to the next part of the story. So what I've had to do, I've been a bit mean. I really made the reader sit up, hoping that they were so caught up in the story, not moving, they don't see how moving them along. The fallout is terrible.
So everybody, we're coming out of winter and we're starting to move into the spring, and hence this is the title to the 5th part of the book, Spring Fever. The cats are looking forward to a renewed life. They've survived the winter. Yes, they've had their ups and downs. But just to give you an idea of what some of the titles are in this part of the book, we've got Into Summer, Under the Stars, Dawn Chorus, and Talking Tactics. Now, the chapter that caught my imagination was Councils of Wars. And it's really is something is cracking off here. And so, Olive, care to give us a sneak preview as to what's cracking off in Council of Wars? But, as again, this part of the book, Spring Fever. But you've got here, the first council and the second council. It's all kicking off again, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Basically, I open up storyline first council, Big Boy tried to find out, get some information. Is that right? Am I right? Am I right, Mark? Am I right, John?
Yes.
They meet up with 3 local alley cats in Grattington. The Scavenger, Stifter, and Puke. And they are 3 alley cats. And they run riot in Grattington. And the tribe, other tribe, man's tribe, cats and the crips, they're terrified of them. They hold the ransom, but Big Paw is willing to entertain them because he wants to know information and to harm it. But unfortunately, as the first council, second council is British left, and 3 alley cats are not happy at all. And you have this one thing, it's all deserted to where are they? Well, they are very simple. They're all in the crypt under the church. They're having a meeting. And
It's a big meeting, everyone. It's a big meeting.
pardon?
It's a big meeting, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And Carmen, who's going there, was trying to make himself heard about the cats. But they have no control, they're unhappy. And in the end, he's blessed by a stone falling down suddenly. No silence. And then says Muhammad uses that to get to Gree to go and avenge its sister Edinburgh.
Ah. Now I'm intrigued here, Olive, because I live in Derby and I know the Peak District very well. And yes, you've got the title of the village there, it's Grassington. Now I think that was based on Brassington. Am I right?
Glass, yes.
Ah, there you go, everyone. And Brassington is a beautiful village in the Peak District. There you go. Giving the game away here. Now, Olive, part 6. And you had this up as cuckoo in the nest. Oh, yes, there's a cuckoo in the nest here, everybody. Feathers are flying, furs flying in all this part of the book, believe you me. And we've got 8 chapters, and they're extremely engaging, in particular, an awesome discovery. We've got dark secrets, but for me, storm clouds gather stood out. The chief is agitated and all out of sorts in his chamber. Kamet's homestanding is deserted, and the worries of One Fang and Mauser are very interesting. The plots are powerful. Olive, can you tell the audience what's going on here?
Basically, I've got to shift plot from High Ridge into Lexington. And also, it's a way of trying to write. When you write, you can't leave your reader run out of steam. It's very easy to do. So, what I've tried to do here, I've tried to inject a bit of humour.
Like your humour.
Don't be rude. No, but seriously, you have to consider your reader. As you say, it's a big book. There is a certain amount of time. You have to calm down just a bit to the reader's imaginations run over. That's where you meet the three charmers, as I put them. And they're the characters. They're awful. They're terrible. Buckets of cold water will not go a bit over each of them, best routines them. But Big Paw is willing to entertain them to get information about the whereabouts of his son. And he makes a big mistake. I'm not saying more about the storyline, but what I wanted is I want my readers to be able to laugh at that point, to react, to be able to put the book down. They're big enough again, then they're ready, and carry on. But so much has happened before, at high intensity, I'm in danger of tiring my reader at that stage.
There is, everybody, definitely in this part of the book, a cuckoo in the nest. Oh boy, indeed there is. Now, Olive, part 7. Summer Shadows. There are 9 chapters here. They're all eye-catching, fascinating, gripping, as usual. And we've got chapters like The Die is Cast. Oh yes, the die is cast, everybody. A Generous Offer. Maybe, maybe not. Dark Doings are key chapters. But the one that did it for me was A Highway to Heaven. Here we have Forepaw talking about Glassington. Here we go, Glassington again, being the perfect opportunity for cats and humans to live side by side. The Mine, Myths, Tomb, and Forepaw's thoughts about Kamet. Very, very interesting, everybody. Very interesting. As expected, the chapters are busy. They're packed with intensity. So, Olive, what are you talking about here in this part of the book?
Don't forget I've had the stroke since then. What I wanted to do was show the link. If you know an ordinary cat made this Roby 2 miles for a Tom. That's a pet cat. Now, I wanted to show that owners have to accept from this point to go with their pets to get the maximum out of them. I also want to show that the pets can also give to their owners too. Does that make sense to you, John? No, it doesn't. I think that made sense. Yeah, but that's what I wanted to try and do. I wanted to try and show that if you're feeling internal feelings and my emotions on whatever you face, you come through it together. So, better person, we hope. It's when the minute our emotions take us the other way, take the cat the other way, run into them. So that's a highway to heaven.
So, Olive, let's go to the final part of the book, Harvest Time.
It's not actually not called Harvest Time. It's called Harvest Home.
Yeah, indeed. So, care to tell us what you're revealing here without giving the game plan away? I love the chapters, The Road to Freedom, Poison Chalice, and the water cat, but particularly the final toll. So care to reveal a little about what's in this part of the book, and especially the final toll, without giving too much away, because this is the last section of the book.
I'm talking metaphor, really. The final soul is whatever is we make of it. Does that make sense? The cats all over the place, but at the end of the day, they come together, work together, the outcome is good. That's how I read to him. If they don't, they have fallout, we are lost. And what I've done too here, I've done this deliberately. I've made 2 entries for the book. So I'm very aware by the way through that I'm relying on a supernatural understanding that the other readers might not always have. And I thought, how can I make a reader read all of that book without giving something? So I split it into 2. And give the reader the choice whether to go on or stop better ones. If they stop where they are, they've had a good story, I think they need recompense. If they go on, there's something more. And you talk about your favourite character being Hedgerow.
Oh, Hedgerow's my favourite character, everyone. I loved Hedgerow. She is so enchanting. I love
Well, you know who my favourite character is?
What's your favourite character?
Quartz. He's that blue stinker.
All right.
And he challenges life. The way you've got 2 kids at the end of it, which is Fraser and final daughter. But Quartz always asks the question, why? You can't put one over on. He challenges, he's fearless. He'll challenge the chief, he'll challenge his grandfather, anything. Flint is a very tiny, but Quartz is why? He finds sound, he's linked him mission 2. And then I give him the final accolade. Because Big Paul, the chief, says, it's come to another week. And he says, from now on things are going to be different. He's learned. Hallelujah. You know, there'll be no more fights to death. The court says, why? And he's hit out. You may take it to your home. You know? But he says, he has a right to ask that question. Because by that, to that, it is future fettered.
Okay.
And that's why I like Quartz.
Oh, there you go, everyone. That's her favourite character, but mine's still Hedgerow, and I'm sticking with that. Now, Olive, that's the book. Do you intend to write any more books? I know you've had a new one coming
I'm still writing now.
Mm.
I don't know somebody. Never. I mean, that's my textual work you're talking about. But I have non-textual works. At the moment, I'm writing a book called Postmaster General. And that's about the Holy Spirit. But in the Holy Spirit, in the Postmaster General, I'm trying to do something very special. Instead of making my readers along, And by trying to give the reader the opportunity to choose the path they would take. Very complicated, quite serious, but challenging. But I had to be able to hear was coming just briefly and said, "Can we see what you're writing?" I said, "Yes, you like." And I showed him a bit about the configuration. And you know, none of those carers had ever been inside the church themselves. But I will tell you, the discussion that I learned from it. It wasn't ever any theologian. If I can do that, John, if I can make people reach outside themselves, push them within, I'll do it every time.
So writing books for you is important. It keeps you going, doesn't it?
It does, but you know, this book's a life its own. We haven't time to go into it now, but this book has found its way through thick and through thin.
Sure.
And even down to have difficulties this morning. Not right at all. But you know what my dream will be? I might not be here any longer, not for another 2 years or so. I feel lucky if I'm still here. My dream is that somebody will, who has skills and gifts different to mine, take one look at that book, say, "By golly, that'll make a good film."
Oh, indeed.
And then I've provided an escape route.
How do you want people to perceive your book, The Blessing of the Sun?
I want them to see it as a blessing, first of all, into their own lives. They might want to midfield path out of it, I fully accept that. But what I want them more of all, I want to think about their life. Well, I've been given a second child, bite and cherry, and believe me, second bite is even better than the first. I mean, I'm doing something I never dreamed of doing. I'm talking to you, my video link, in a little country. And I honour your input, John, and I thank you for all the time and trouble you take, because I know I'm not an easy subject. But I will say this. There are some heroes here. They are the carers who got me early this morning. Men tried to make me look a bit respectable. That's a task I can tell you. As I can provide them with some escapism, they should be thanked. But I couldn't speak for a long time. One word I missed saying was thank you. And I have learned so much that I had this stroke. I'd be more respect to them.
Okay. That leaves me, everybody, just to say to Olive Clarke about her book, The Blessing of the Sun, thank you very much for coming on my show. I'm JT Crowley. Thank you for listening wherever you're in the world. Until next time, stay safe.